Hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing? Let's see here. This video was sent in by Ricardo. Why Dutch bikes are better and why you should want one. Okay, I'm all ears. I have been wanting to get into bike riding. I don't have a bike though, so maybe I should buy a Dutch bike. It's by Not Just Bikes, which is an awesome channel. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of him. Link down below. Go check out his channel. So I'm excited to watch this. This has almost 6 million views. So there's got to be, he must have a point here. Dutch bikes. I don't see how a bike can be that much better, but I'm ready to learn.
This is our Dutch bicycle. It's an Oma Fiets, literally grandma bicycle. There is really nothing special about it, at least here
Nothing special about it.
in the Netherlands. But in Canada, the US, or many other countries, this bike would be very unique indeed, and bicycles like this one really surprised me the first time I visited the Netherlands.
It looks like it's got no gears.
There's a good reason for this uniqueness. In the Netherlands, bicycles are seen as a tool for everyday transportation, a way to get from point A to point B quickly and efficiently. In most
Man, you guys are brave. Oh my God, I don't know. Crossing traffic on a bicycle like that, you just don't see that here very often in
way
America.
to get from point
At
A
least where I
to
live.
point B quickly and efficiently.
Kind of scary.
In most other countries, bicycles are used primarily for sport and exercise. This one difference explains nearly everything special about a bike like this.
Yeah, I
Now,
wouldn't
it's
even
not
know
like-
where to buy a bike like that.
This is the only kind of bicycle you'll see in the Netherlands, of course. There are many others, including e-bikes, cargo bikes, hand cycles, and you'll definitely see
I will say e-bikes have some sort of popularity growth here in America. Probably just because it's inherently a little bit, and no offense to anyone, I think they're cool, but it's a little bit of a lazier, method. You can have it power itself sometimes, which is awesome. But I think it's a good, like, hybrid option. Sometimes you're not trying to sweat your butt off on the way to work, so it would be nice to have that.
road bikes used for sport too, especially on weekends. But for everyday urban transportation, this style of bicycle is by far the most common. So what makes this bicycle so different from what you might be used to?
It looks kind of comfortable.
Well, the primary difference is that this is an upright bicycle. It's built to ride in an upright sitting position. This is an inefficient position that will not transmit maximum power into the crank during a pedal stroke, plus it's totally not aero. But who cares? What the upright position does provide is comfort.
Yeah.
The handlebars on this bicycle are high up and swept back, making it extremely comfortable to ride. On this kind of bicycle, you
Yeah, a normal bicycle, after being on one for a while, it hurts my back. Ugh.
almost pull up and back on the handlebars rather than putting any weight on them.
Huh.
This is just a more comfortable way to sit on a bicycle, and the design is very similar to the original safety bicycle developed in the UK in the late 19th century. Sitting upright also makes it easier to see what's going on around you, which can be safer when cycling in busy urban environments with lots of other people around.
Is that a faux pas to be parked like that? I mean, I guess he's trying to get pulled out, huh?
Which can be safer when cycling in busy urban environments with lots of other people around. Riding this way lets you wear any type of clothing you'd like because it's no different than sitting in a chair, which is why you see most people in the Netherlands dressed for the destination and not the ride.
That's an important distinction.
This bicycle has a step-through frame, meaning that you can get on and off it very easily without having to swing your leg around like you do on
I don't know why, but here in America, those type of bikes where the frame goes down is like, they're considered bikes for women,
a bike like this with a
from what I've been told.
crossbar. These frames are fine and you'll definitely see them here, but I find them particularly annoying if you have a kid seat because if you swing your leg up to get on, you kick your kid in the head.
I don't see any benefit to having that crossbar up high like that. It is weird that that's so common. Rest in peace, kid.
And I don't understand why we still call these men's bikes when it's
Yeah.
the only kind you can hit your nuts on.
That is a great point. What? The men's bike should be the one with the swoop.
Because step-through frames are more comfortable to use, they're increasingly popular for both men and women. This is another thing that contributes to people wearing normal clothes when cycling, and why you'll even see women wearing dresses and skirts.
Wow.
Speaking of skirts, this thing is called a skirt guard or coat guard, and it's quite common on Dutch bicycles. It prevents
They
long
keep it
articles
from-
of clothing from getting stuck in the spokes as you ride. It also helps prevent a child sitting on the back from getting their foot stuck.
Yeah.
Another thing to protect your clothing is the chain guard,
Smart.
a plastic or metal cover over the bicycle chain. It also helps to protect the chain from the elements, making it last longer. This
That makes a lot of sense. I don't know why they're just exposed on every bicycle I've ever seen. I guess it makes it easier to access if it slips. But this might help it not slip off the gears.
It also helps to protect the chain from the elements, making it last longer. This thing here is called a frame lock, and almost every bicycle in the Netherlands has one. These are incredibly convenient for so many reasons, but I've almost never seen them outside of the Netherlands, Denmark, and Japan. They are an easy way to lock the back wheel of your bicycle for quick stops, which makes it really, really easy to pop into a shop when riding somewhere.
That's nifty. That makes a ton of sense. So you don't have to find a place to strap your bike to necessarily and break out the lock and get it all hooked up. That makes sense. Just lock the wheel.
The frame lock also keeps your key inside as you ride. You can actually buy frame locks that don't do this, but I really like the key retaining feature. This is a small detail, but it ensures that your bike keys are always with you. That being said, I have been known to accidentally hit the key with my leg and bend it like this. Oops. Also, while there's a lot of
Well, they should just move it back a little bit to prevent that.
space for the locking mechanism in the wheel, I seem to hit the spoke far more often than you'd think. I should have gone into neutrino research. When this lock is engaged, you can't ride the bicycle, but you can, of course, just pick it up and walk away with it.
Yeah.
So if you want to ensure that your bike is still there when you return, it's best to bring a chain lock with you
Well, you'd probably be able to catch up to the thief if he's having to do that.
as well, and most people do. If you see bikes locked only like this, it's probably because the owner considers their bike too crappy to steal. A slight variation on this is a frame lock with a chain lock integrated, giving you two locks with one key.
Oh.
Interestingly, U-locks, by far the most common locks in North America, are not seen very often in the Netherlands. Probably because it's difficult to get close enough to something to lock to with so many other bicycles around. Another feature you'll see on almost every bicycle
You
in
don't have that problem here in America where you're the only one riding a bike.
the Netherlands is both front and rear fenders. This makes sense in a country where it rains all the time. Fenders are not considered an optional add-on here. What's also included is a kickstand. Almost every bike comes with one.
It's kind of neat how that works too. I've never seen a kickstand like that. You can access it from either side of the bike. It looks a little bit more sturdy as opposed to the one that's just on the side and kicks
Over
down.
the fender, you'll usually find a rear rack, though some bikes have a rack on the front. Ultimately, these bicycles are meant to be useful, so having panniers at the back or a box on the front allows people to carry a surprisingly large amount of stuff. No SUV required. Rear racks in the Netherlands are also built strong enough to carry another person, which you see quite regularly. But then everything on a Dutch bicycle is heavy duty. These aren't aluminium or carbon fiber frames, they're made of solid steel. These bikes are not built for speed, they're built to last. In general, Dutch bicycles are built to be low maintenance. So when a bicycle has gears, they're often internal hub gears like this one.
Oh.
In-hub gearing is great because they almost never need maintenance. This is very different from derailleurs, which
I've never actually seen that. I don't know how that works.
gearing is great because they almost never need maintenance.
But that is how the chain slips off, isn't it? When it's changing gears.
This is very different from derailleurs, which I find are constantly going out of alignment. Of course, many bicycles, including this one of ours, don't have any gears at all. You might also notice that this particular bike doesn't have any handbrakes either. A lot of bikes here do have handbrakes, but this one uses coaster brakes that you engage by cycling backwards. This was fascinating to me because in Canada, you will never see brakes like this except on children's bikes. They take some getting used to, but I really prefer cycling like this, as it feels so natural to pedal forward to speed up and pedal backwards to brake. By not having any handbrakes or gears, it keeps the bike simple and maintenance free.
That's smart. Just from an engineering standpoint, I feel like that's smart. Just fewer parts, and anytime there's no components up here on the handles that are having to go down and interact with anything in the bike mechanism. So like it just makes it really hard for anything to break.
It also avoids any cables that might accidentally get stuck on other bicycles when parking in tight places. All of this is done to keep the bicycle in good working condition, which is
That kid was riding sideways.
places. All of this is done to keep the bicycle in good
Or she's transporting a dead body.
working condition, which is important when it's your primary mode of transportation. The only problem we've ever had with this bicycle is the occasional flat tire. And speaking of tires, did you know they use a different tire valve here? In the US and Canada, there are only ever two tire valves. Presta, found on road bikes, and Schrader, found on everything else. Here in the Netherlands, they use a Blitz valve. These valves have a little ball that prevents air from getting out. They're really easy to work with. In case you're curious,
Hold on. Pumping. Okay, air from the pump pushes the ball aside. Riding, air pressure inside closes the valve. Clever.
have a little ball that prevents air from getting out. They're really easy to work with. In case you're curious, you can just use a regular Presta pump to fill these. Just pump it up to a high enough pressure and the valve will open automatically.
Dear first place.
You'll sometimes see on bicycles here is a dynamo. These go in the wheel hub or on the wheel and generate enough electricity to power LED lights. These are pretty nice as you never need to worry about recharging batteries or forgetting your lights. Just another small thing that makes these bicycles simple for everyday use. And lastly, the bell on this bike makes a
That's really smart. I mean, all the time here in America, when you do see a cyclist at night, you can barely see them. And you don't expect them either. Very few of them have lights. Most bikes have reflectors on the pedals, but that's about it.
pleasant sound. Though you hardly ever need to use your bell here, so it doesn't really matter. When we were still living in Canada, we knew about upright Dutch-style bikes and tried for years to buy one, but they were almost impossible to find. This photo sums up the situation in Canada. A selection of bicycles supposedly for commuting, sporty hybrids, and road bikes. They don't even come with a rack, fenders, or kickstand. Maybe
How is that any different than just a mountain bike?
bikes. They don't even come with a rack, fenders, or kickstand. Maybe there are more bike shops with upright bicycles today, but when we lived in Toronto, there was only one shop that sold them, and the next closest was over 50 kilometers away. Here in Amsterdam,
Sounds like a good market opportunity.
I can't swing a pair of clogs without hitting a dozen bicycle shops that sell.
Oh my god, look at the amount of freaking bikes. Oh, this is a bicycle shop. Okay.
Here in Amsterdam, I can't swing a pair of clogs without hitting a dozen bicycle shops that sell functional, practical bicycles. Bicycles that are designed for transportation, not sport. One group in Winnipeg, Canada, got so frustrated trying to find practical urban bicycles that they started importing new and used bicycles from the Netherlands. They call
Good idea.
themselves the Plain Bicycle Project, and they're regularly receiving shipping containers full of bicycles from the Netherlands. So to my Dutch viewers, when you're finished with your bike, please consider donating it to needy families in Canada. It's so great to have bicycles that aren't for sport.
You don't get to sell it, you have to donate it?
Bicycles whose It's so great to have bicycles that aren't for sport. Bicycles whose primary function is to be there when you need it, to carry your shopping or your friend, and to be used with as little effort as possible. No special gear or costume changes required.
I've seen some kids on these little kick bikes here in America.
As little effort
That's
as
cool to
possible.
see. I wonder if they started in Europe.
No special gear or costume changes required. This is a point that's often overlooked because while it's obviously important to have safe streets and cycling infrastructure, it also makes a difference to have easy access to practical, low-maintenance bicycles like this one. Living in Amsterdam, I know that when I need to go somewhere, taking a bicycle will usually be the fastest and most convenient way to get there. But it's
That's
also
a crazy thought that a bicycle is the fastest way to get there. It's just a whole different mindset than here in America.
important to know that I
That
won't
sounds like one of the slowest ways for
have any problems
just hearing that.
either because of our old, clunky, rusty, beat-up,
But
comfortable,
that's just because everything is so far apart here in America.
reliable Omafeets.
Oma feet.
I'd like to thank my supporters on Patreon who pay
Great video. That was really cool. I'm going to keep my eye out, see if I see any Dutch bikes here in Indiana. I wonder how far I'd have to go to buy one of those. Very cool. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.